the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. We have great giveaways that we do throughout the year. De'Aaron Fox jersey, Dennis Rodman jersey, and more to come. Make sure to subscribe. I will give you the picks here, of course. Make sure that you shop around. Go to all the books that you can. DraftKings, FanDuel, PointsBet, BetMGM, wherever you find the best line. And the lines are getting sharper now, as you will see with certain props that we talk about. Even though we love Clint Capella here against the Hornets, the question is, are we going to like them necessarily if the juice is wrong? And in some cases, it's not. And in some cases, it is. But don't forget, new users, BetMGM, you want to get a little bonus. You can bet $10 in any event. You'll win $150 in free credits, regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just use that promo code JUICE150 at sign up. The link can be found in the video description or pinned in the live chat. So as the Joker says, here we go. Let's get into the 9-10 matchups tonight. There's 2 of them. We'll do each one of these games and we will look at some props here. First one up, Atlanta, -5 at home against Charlotte, -115 on FanDuel. Look, I do not trust the Hornets. I think the Hornets are king of the little people. Big wins in the last week over Orlando, Washington, and a free-falling Chicago team. They got blitzed by Miami by 30 and blitzed by Philly by 30 as well. Now they have to go on the road. Now look, last time they played against Atlanta, they did an excellent job on Trae Young. They threw doubles at him constantly, very similar to what Ty Lue and the Clippers did last night against Karl Anthony Towns. But as you saw last night, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win, and it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to cover, and that's what I think here as well. I like Atlanta in this game. I'm going to lay the 5 points here against the Hornets. Atlanta's a savvy team. They showed a ton of moxie last year in the playoffs. They beat the Knicks. They beat the Sixers. They took the champion Bucks to 6 games. So I expect a big performance as well. Now, just because Young may not score a lot doesn't mean he's not going to be able to get those shooters involved in the offense. Bogdanovich coming off the bench. Kevin Huerter starting to get hot again. Don't forget about him. Spoiler alert. Now, no John Collins tonight, but the Hawks have the 7th best record at home against the spread. I just don't trust these Hornets on the road. I don't trust Terry Rozier when he's not bombing threes at home against in the confines of Charlotte. When he has to go on the road, I don't like him in this spot. And if they struggle to score, the Hornets defense has not been great over the last couple of weeks. Charlotte is a very up and down team. They're an over team on the road, 23-18 to the over, 5th best road record, but that line is too inflated tonight in a win or go home game. So not only do I like Charlotte -5, Atlanta -5 rather versus Charlotte, I'm going to go with the under. This under here with Charlotte, Atlanta, 235.5 points, way too high. Teams are going to get tighter. You're going to see a lot of traps in the half court on Trae Young. And I don't trust this Hornets offense to score against a pretty decent Atlanta defense at home. Now, we know that on the interior, the Hornets struggle. We talked about this pick about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when Jarrett Allen was there, hung 24-22, 28-24, something close to that against the Hornets. So I think Clint Capella has a big game tonight. I think they control the boards, which limits the second chance points. Hornets are not going to let Trae go off here. Terry Rozier, again, I don't like him. Only 11.7 points per game in 3 games versus Atlanta. Reminds me a lot of Karl Anthony Towns. So this is where I'm going tonight. Atlanta -5 versus Charlotte. I think it's a little bit of back and forth game, lower scoring game. And then Atlanta makes a little bit of a run with some shooters to put this game away late. And Atlanta versus Charlotte under 235.5 points. I'm going with both of those. We have some props, but I will save them for the second half of this. So let's start it off with a favorite and the under. Make sure to get those questions in the chat if you have them, of course. Daryl asks, opinions on the over in the Hornets and the Pelicans game. The stakes are real, but the playoff inexperience of all 4 teams built around scores leads me to believe in the overs. Daryl, my issue, and I spoiled it there with Atlanta, I'm going to get into a minute with New Orleans, is I think when you have scores, they get nervous. Inexperience to me means people become gun shy. They don't want to take extra shots. And even though you have very high scoring teams, especially tonight where it's a win or go home, I'm going to skew to the under. We had 2 unders last night in games where those players could play again. Now tonight, I think the inexperience does show. I think you see overpassing, and I think you see lack of confidence, especially in the second half. Good question, though. Second game, I'm going to go with San Antonio getting 5.5 at New Orleans, -108 on FanDuel, and I'm going to tether that, and you know I love the natural tether with the underdog team getting points and going with the under here, 224.5 -110 on DraftKings. I'm backing Popovich here. DeJounte Murray has been out with an illness, cost him 3 games. But what that allowed the Spurs to do is it allowed them to start getting together, giving other people roles, and peaking at the right time. They've won 9 of 11 down the stretch, even with Murray out. Now, he came back on Sunday, shook off the cobweb, should be ready to go tonight. Brandon Ingram is going to play for the Pelicans, but has a hamstring issue. How effective is he going to be? What happens with Ingram is he likes to score and he likes to shoot, but he stops attacking the basket when he's injured. So you don't get a lot of rebound and assist props from Ingram when he's a little bit banged up, which he is tonight. Spurs are 23-16-2 against the spread on the road. They have the 8th best defensive rating last 2 weeks, even without DeJounte Murray. Pelicans are 10-5. This goes back to the question we just had, to the under as a home favorite, and the Spurs 19-12-1 to the under as a road underdog. So we're looking at an under here as well. I don't trust the Pelicans. They've hit a lot of unders for me, as you know, in the live stream over the last few weeks, because they do tend to lock down late in the second half, in the fourth quarter. There's been games here with the Pelicans that were flying over, and all of a sudden it just slowed to a crawl here. In this game, I think it is a big deal, and I'm going to take the Popovich-led Spurs with DeJounte back, with Jakob Poeltl in the middle. Another spoiler alert, I like Jakob Poeltl tonight. I think they match up well with the Pelicans. I think the inexperience shows. I will take the Spurs with the points tonight and go with the under in New Orleans with Popovich and the best unit in these games in a winner go home. I want to see offense, defense, which team is playing the best, which unit. And the answer to me here is absolutely the Spurs defense over the last 2 weeks. And that's who I'm backing. So we'll go San Antonio plus 5.5 at New Orleans, minus 108 on FanDuel, and Spurs at the Pelicans. We're going under 224 here. Now let's go to our cheat sheet. Of course, BettingPros, fantastic cheat sheet here. Prop bet cheat sheet. Check it out, hitting at 57% over the last 2 months for our top 20 picks. I'm going to give you 6 here tonight. First one, I am going with Terry Rozier under 21.5 points, minus 115 on BetMGM. You have to shop around because this is coming down quickly. Rozier is not someone who's going to score on the road. He is very streaky. He has to get hot from beyond the arc. And in a game like this that I think is super close, I don't expect Rozier to continue to shoot those threes. LaMelo Ball's involved, but I don't like the juice on his props. I think it's a good night for LaMelo Ball, but I don't like the juice there. So I am going with Terry Rozier under 21.5. It's minus 115. I think I see it now at certain books down to 20.5. I'm fine with that. Minus 105. Somewhere around there here on BetMGM. Next up, we talked about Trae Young. And we talked with Trae Young how they're going to double. There is no way that the Hornets, in a game where the season is on the line, is going to let Trae Young just bomb away. They're going to double him. They're going to get the ball out of his hand. So the question becomes, where is the ball going? Very simple, folks. Kevin Huerter, over 2.5 made 3-pointers, plus 100 on DK is my second prop. Look at Kevin Huerter since he's returned here. He was injured for a while. He came back. In the games that you look at in the regular season in April, he's attempted 7 threes, 9 threes, 5 threes, 4 threes, 6 threes, and he's had 2 games here of 3 or more. Plus, at the end of March, he was scalding hot. 5, 6, 4, and 5 3-pointers there as well. Shot 42.6% from beyond the arc. Kevin Huerter, when he's home from 3-point range, shooting a robust 39% from beyond the arc. I think he gets a lot of shots tonight. I like Trae Young's assists, but they're a little high. I think they're around 10.5 or 11. Second prop, Kevin Huerter of Atlanta, over 2.5 threes. We love plus money, and we get it here because they're going to get the ball out of Young's hands. I look for Huerter to knock some shots down tonight. Third prop here, Jakob Poeltl, and this goes on our BettingPros cheat sheet as well. We love Poeltl tonight. Make sure to check that out. Over 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists, minus 105 on DK. Poeltl is an issue inside. He extends bigs like Jonas Valanciunas. He makes them come out. He can hit those short shots. The only issue is foul trouble. And when you get to a situation like this, especially with Popovich, I think Poeltl's going to be solid here. Over 24.5 points, rebounds, assists. If you want to go for his points, I'm fine with that as well. I want the PRA minus 105 on DK. Gives me a little bit better here number than I was looking for. Depends on where you want to go. Next one up, PJ Washington. I'm a huge PJ Washington fan. I talked when he was coming out of college. I liked him better than Zion. And look, the talent may not be there, but he's certainly been more reliable. This year in 3 games against Atlanta for PJ Washington, 13.7 points, 6.3 rebounds, and yes, he's shooting 41.7% from beyond the arc. So that's where we're going with PJ. If you're going to stop the Hornets, you're going to concentrate on Rozier because he can get flammable. You're going to concentrate on LaMelo Ball. You're going to let PJ shoot, and we're going to take advantage. Over 1.5 made 3-pointers plus 110 on DK. PJ Washington, 42% from 3-point range here against Atlanta. That's a 3-game sample, and he's played almost 32 minutes. No John Collins tonight. PJ Washington gets left alone. All we need is 2. This reminded me of a great prop last night that I had. Nicholas Batum over 1.5 threes. Hit that one, and we took it to the window. Let's do it here again with PJ over 1.5 made threes. 2 left. Herb Jones over 2.5 steals and blocks. That's plus 135 on DK. Herb Jones is a nightmare on defense and is really settled into the role where he's going to guard the opponent's best player. Now, whether it's DeJounte, Keldon Johnson sometimes who can make some shots as well, I'm not sure where Herb's going. I think he could be on Keldon Johnson a lot tonight, which is why I like the steals and blocks. The Spurs do turn the ball over. They play at a decent pace. The defense has been good, but Herb Jones can get in those lanes with those long arms from Alabama and create chaos. Herb Jones over 2.5 steals and blocks. That's plus 135 on DK. You're dealing with a player here, folks, that in the last week had 6 steals in a game. You've seen 6 steals, 2 steals, 3 steals. He has that ability, and he can get some easy blocks. 2.5 steals for wings, athletic wings, like a Herb Jones, like a John Morant. When you get value like this at plus 135, you have to grab it. If I'm going with the under, that means a lot of misses. That means some turnovers. And the Spurs on the road here can be susceptible to turnovers. So Herb Jones over 2.5 steals and blocks. Great juice here, plus 135 on DK. And the last one, Keldon Johnson, under 19.5 points, plus 105 on DK. Keldon Johnson is a jump shooter, and he's a darn good one. But you will have the ability for Herb and the Pelicans to slow down some of this attack. DeJounte Murray's going to be the center of attention. Pirtle's going to get some points inside. I think this line is just a little too high for me with Keldon Johnson. He's between a 16 to a 19-point player. He doesn't have the upside explosiveness of an Anthony Edwards. He's dribbling to pull up. Reminds me of a Carmelo Anthony type of game where he's going to hit those jump shots. So Keldon Johnson, I just looked at this and I thought it was a little too high. We're going under 19.5 points, plus 105 on DK, and those are your 6 props. So just to recap, we love Atlanta at home, laying the points with Charlotte. It's not going to be comfortable because Charlotte's going to play well tonight, but I do think Atlanta pulls away and wins by more than 5, but we like the under in that game, 235.5, way too high for those 2 teams, even though they play quickly. We have San Antonio as the underdog getting 5.5 at New Orleans. A New Orleans team that we really doubt here with an inexperience going against a solid defensive team that's really locked down with some great wins over the last 2 weeks. And we're also going to go with the under 224.5 there, minus 110 on DK. And then our player props, Terry Rozier to go ice cold at Atlanta under 21.5 points. Kevin Huerter to feast off those kicks from Trae Young over 2.5 made threes. Jakob Poeltl, really versatile, big inside. Look for a double-double from him. Get to over 24.5 points, rebounds, assists at minus 105. PJ Washington, 42% this year against Atlanta. Keep those threes cooking even on the road. Over 1.5 made threes. That's plus 110, plus money there. Herb Jones in the passing lanes, getting rebounds, getting blocks, over 2.5 steals and blocks, plus 135. Love the money there. And Keldon Johnson to make some shots, but not hit the 20-point mark. We're going to go plus 105 on DK for Keldon Johnson. Folks, make sure to join us here on Friday because we'll have some great ideas for Friday for those games. We're going to play on Friday at Cleveland. We're going to play at the Clippers. The question is who is going to play in those games? And then, of course, we get to Saturday, and I'll give you a preview there on Friday as well because there are some series I love. The idea, folks, that the Brooklyn Nets are favored over the Celtics is absolute craziness. That Celtic team is good. I'm looking forward to that. And the question, of course, that I'm getting a lot on Twitter is how is Dallas going to do without Luka Doncic for a couple games? Can they extend that series to get him back against Utah? That one starts on Saturday as well. So, folks, as always, thank you here for joining us. Betting Pros, subscribe, like, follow me on Twitter at Randall Rant. Let's get some money tonight. Good night last night. Let's build some momentum on these 9-10 games. Win or go home.